Love games, yes I do. I love games. How about you? So we're talking about the upcoming crowdfunding games the week of August 23. What do you need to know? What's sort of lurking at the end of August here? I'll just be completely frank. This week is gonna be a little less interesting. I mean, obviously there's always one or two that pop up in the roundup video that are slightly more intriguing, but the last week of August, not to skip ahead too far in advance, next week's video is going to be actually more intriguing, or at least personally speaking, there's a few more of interest. And then the first week or two of September, I'll tell you right now, we're also going to be jam-packed. So it's like people are sort of mixing and matching around convention season, hitting hard on a few weeks where there's going to be some big overlap. So just interesting to see. Like I always wonder if campaigns and publishers and designers look at those aspects of things. I mean, I know they do, but like to what extent? Because it seems like some do and some also maybe don't. Enough preamble. Let's do it. First up, launching on the 23rd, we have Sea of Legends, the new expansion. The question is just going to be how expansive is this expansion going to actually be? This is Vengeance of the Empires. As it insinuates by the title, you're getting into a situation where this is now going to be from previously 1 to 4 players, now 1 to 5 players in this open world tabletop pirate faring exploring game. But now the empires that reign in that time period, the British Empire, the Spanish Empire, you know, the ones that controlled the Caribbean in the first place when it was, you know, explored and ventured over to, they are trying to rein in the pirates. How successful are you going to be in fighting against that reign? Wheeling, dealing, alliance making, backstabbing, what is that going to look like? That's going to be the question. Now, I believe this is also app driven, so take that for what you will, or app integrated. This is the first Kickstarter campaign page, and it says 1 to 5 players here. And originally on the Board Game Geek page, the base game only says 1 to 4 players. So either way, the new expansion is going to be 1 to 5 players. I don't get the sense, though, if this is going to be a standalone. It raised over $500,000 from Guildhall Studios. So the question just is, what nuance, what difference are they going to bring with this expansion? What is it actually going to add? Or if I'm wrong, and if it's a 2.0 version, sort of like with this thing, Nemesis or Awakened Realms is other properties that they've done sort of that with the upcoming Tainted Grail, what is that going to look like? And do you really need both? I would imagine this is an integrated system, not a completely separate, but nowadays nothing really surprises me, right? As we saw with the previous campaign, though, as we scroll down to the pledges, I would wonder if it's not going to see a similar increase that we've seen across the board, anywhere from 25 to 50% with a new base game pledge. Even if it's just an integrated version or expansion, I could see this easily being $100, $125 instead of $90 as well. So how do you feel about that aspect? I mean, it sort of has the 4X feel in an open world game, right? Combat, exploration, traveling across the map. Now, the app use integration with the narrative gameplay, that is a turn on, that's a turn off for some people. How important or how much do you like narrative? Whether it's app driven or reading from a book, because I have one of those that we're going to talk about next as well. And pirates. We've seen a ton of pirates now all of a sudden. They say things come in waves, right? Well, this is another case. Ahoy! Dead Reckoning. We just saw there was Davy Jones, that one. There was another one on crowdfunding earlier in the year. Now we have Sea of Legends coming around again. Tons of thematically similar games all coming out at the same time. We'll see. We'll see when it launches on the 23rd. Now, that other one I was talking about, this is Robomon, right? This is the Pokemon take on an open world game set instead with robots that you are capturing, collecting, exploring. So I actually have a copy of this. I will have a video out in the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how things go, talking a little bit more in depth of what the prototype looks like, what you need to know in this really 1 to 2 player game, but it's going to be a bigger boon probably for you solo gamers. It reminds me very much so far of Lands of Galzir, the other one that went on GameFound last year, with more of an open world campaign narrative aspect of things. But as with the Pokemon games, the core of this is capturing the Pokemon, Robomon in this case. And so this is what it's going to entail. You are going to be exploring these worlds, going to various points, stimulating the video game experience in a tabletop setting, utilizing not only the map books here, but also puzzles and events and quests and wild exploration, as with the Pokemon, you know, when you're running through the grass, right? And then all of a sudden a Pokemon pops up. They have a similar mechanism to utilize in this. Carrying only certain Pokemon, healing them, speed, initiative, attack values, AI system to designate who and how it's attacking. You can have up to 2 Pokemon, Robomon out at a time, so you can potentially, and this is the aspect I need to fine tune a little bit, have 2 out against a Robomon, or even do a 2-on-2 depending on how the battles go. You can even evolve your Robomon as you go. That's all on the page. If you want to know more, check out my video, 2,600 people following this page already, which is pretty significant. Next up, Hippocrates from Game Brewer. They just announced like their whole slate of potential upcoming crowdfunding games like on Thursday for like the next 2 years out in advance, right? A little ambitious there. It's good to have a project timeline though, so I'll give them credit. The reason we're talking about Hippocrates right now, though, is set in ancient times, a la a hospital system based situation, is going to be launching its expansion on the 23rd. This is more of a tile placement, resource management style of Euro game that you're going to be managing resources as you basically triage patients into your center for treatment, and then hire physicians as well as the treatments themselves to create them in order to treat them to best get them also out of the hospital as quickly as you can. I remember this one coming around the first time on crowdfunding. However, I don't think it's been as well received as they were originally hoping. It's only got a 7 on Board Game Geek. Now, it's a fine line, you know. So between 7 and 8 is always a little bit tricky to really determine how good or how interesting a game will be to you. And seeing a 7 and with only 500 ratings just kind of makes me go, I don't really know. The other thing that reminds me of is that if you're putting out an expansion, if the base game has flaws, right, is the expansion going to address those flaws and subsequently make it more enticing? I'm not saying that that's a great way to, you know, troubleshoot, you know, DLC if you video game it, but that means that they've heard those things and they're trying to address them at the same time. So I give some kudos there as well. Now, this is launching on the 23rd, so we'll see what that looks like. Next up, we have Tale Story. This is a very interesting take of a deck building game set to 2 to 4 players. You choose one of 3 types, right? Rodent, cat, dog, essentially. And then you get a set of cards to start with. And as you play those cards out and you get through your whole deck, essentially that's what you're trying to do, because then you lay a card that's called an achievement down. Once you have 4 achievements, you win. But it's a deck builder in the sense that you are going to be building your deck based off of other people's discard piles alone. Interesting? Intrigued? Weird? A little bit of everything. Basically, you're just trying to burn through your deck, like I suggested, as quickly as you can in order to get through it, to shuffle back up to play one of those achievements. Now, judging by the cards here, I would imagine that there's going to be some take that as well, depending on how you play and which asymmetric faction that you are in the first place. This is launching on the 23rd. I apologize. Also, Robomon as well as Hippocrates Expansion are launching on the 22nd. Messed those up earlier. Now, we are going to go over to something else that's kind of interesting here. The Comic Book Bubble, Scott Alms, another Scott Alms game. So what is he bringing to us in terms of the comic book form? Now, this isn't an auction game per se, but as the title suggests, this is a comic book-based speculative commodity game. And what I mean by that is you're going to be buying and selling, right? Buy low, sell high, but use your powers or card abilities to manipulate the market, as well as time when you're going to do each of them. There's going to be a lot more variance, meaning the later you get in the game, they state in the Board Game Geek description, the more variance there's going to be, meaning more bull, more bear, higher prices and lower prices. Things aren't going to be just going up and down a little bit. Things are going to be drastically swinging. So really focusing and keying in on when you want to do said manipulation of the market is really going to make a big difference. The game term that they use actually here is called speculate, and that's going to change or rearrange or manipulate said prices of the market, which allows you to then potentially sell. If you don't do that action, well, you're not going to be able to sell, but you can still buy as an action. But as you can see down here, if you choose just buy, can't sell. So that's where the dynamic and the interplay is going to come in. We'll see what it looks like and the nuances of it when it launches on the 23rd. Now I have this written down. I'm going to throw this in at the end. I have this written down for the 23rd, and this is Fugitive. So I can't honestly remember if it's Fugitive in the sense that this is the Tim Fowers game from, I think, 2017, the 2-player asymmetric agent versus burglar thief trying to get away from the agent, trying to escape the town before they're caught, or if this is referring to something else. So take this one with a grain of salt. That's why it's also being thrown in here at the end. But there are talks of an expansion looking for playtesters months and months and months and months and months ago on the Board Game Geek forums. So if I'm right, this one also potentially is launching on the 23rd. Again, I haven't seen anything else for it, but thought I'd throw it out here at the end as an FYI just in case. There you go. Let's see, what else do I got here at the end? I don't have a whole lot. I don't really have a whole lot to ramble about. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out the Robomon video. I've got a couple other games that I need to be talking about. The one that's coming out from 25th Century Game, I have Prehistories. I'm going to be talking about that base game as well as the expansion that's going to be launching on the 30th over in Game Palm for that. Hopefully that will be coming up this week. I've got another 2-player game sitting right behind the computer that I'm going to be talking about. And then I need to get one or two other things done. Oh, another Kickstarter preview impressions game. Leviathan Wilds, the one that was very akin to Shadows of Colossus a little while back, but it ended up canceling, so I need to get that one out, as well as just one or two other small things. So there might not be as much topical this week. I've got a few top 5 or 10 lists that I'm thinking about as well. Just, things rumbling around up here from that aspect of things. Nothing else too serious. And maybe a state of the channel, just some background thoughts as well on where things are at almost 2 years in at this point, and just kind of let you know how my brain's been doing with this. I don't know. That's all I got. Today was a lower back day for workout, so I got a couple, I got about 6 or 8 exercises that I do, back to back to back. Bad pun there. Not even trying to do it even in that case. But yeah, today's lower back day, so that's always a fun one. It's not very intense for cardio, but really, really gets you from that aspect of things. Good mornings are really easy, but then you start adding weight with them and they become a whole different situation when you do those. So anyway, let's see what else. I'm watching Extraordinary Attorney Woo. I took a couple people's advice and just decided to start doing that one on Netflix. It's cute so far. It's cute. It's solid. It's nothing spectacular so far. It's solid. I watched part of The Sandman. I don't know. Spoilers right here for Sandman. Neil Gaiman's series. The effects in it are absolutely top-notch. Some of the best effects I've seen in any show or video, movie, whatever recently. I'm not as enthralled in the plot. It really screams to me book translated into show, right? Because the exposition, the background of a lot of these characters, the motivations, the inner workings of them are just lacking. Even the Sandman, even Morpheus. And I'm not saying this after watching 1 or 2. I'm like halfway through the series, and I'm just like, okay, it's cool, but if it wasn't so heavy on the visual effects, if we weren't so focused on that, would the plot and the course of things, and again, this is nothing to say against the book, would it actually hold up? And I just, they go kind of, it's okay. It's a great concept. It's a great, absolutely fantastic concept. But I think the series is clearly, they said, okay, well, let's cram in as much as we can into this season. And, sometimes a book needs more than one season. And since they did that, I feel like it's lacking in a few areas. So, I don't know. We'll see. That's all I got. That's all I got right now. I need to get a couple things played. I have a couple publishers I need to apologize to because I'm slow getting stuff played and getting stuff made in terms of videos. So that's really like my next 2 weeks of stuff, essentially, is catching up on reviews and making them from that aspect of things. So expect to see more reviews the next week or two. But I'm going to do a new format. I'm going to do a little new format that's going to show you like 2 turns, essentially, of the game, so you can get a concept of how that interacts, how it works, pros, cons, everything else in between. And I need to wrap up now because I'm done. So that's what to expect, and the 2-year-old's walking in here right now. So In case you hear the clicking of a door several times, that's what that background noise is. He's trying to very quietly shut it right now, in case you just heard that. So, as always, have a great day. Stay classy. I'll see you around. Come here, buddy. You want to say hi? Can you wave hi? Wave hi to the camera? Hi. No. Did you just come in to say hi? That's called the microphone. We don't touch. Okay. Let's go out. Were you eating lunchy?
Yeah.
Did you eat some lunchy?
I did.
You did? Good job. That's the Uchiha.
Bing.
No. Gentle. You could break it.